All right, everyone. Everyone's favorite politician, Andy Cuomo, strikes again. He's signing emergency declaration in the state of New York. I think it follows New Jersey, if I remember correctly, banning flavored e-cigarette products. So, like, cotton candy flavored vape juice, I guess, is no longer allowed in New York. Now, how he has the authority to do this under a public health declaration is beyond me, because there's no public health emergency. A few hundred cases of illness resulting nationwide over the course of a whole fucking year be based on a product. Most of the time, here's what happens. People made home blends spiked with THC. They measured them properly. Imported products were laced with other chemicals. That's your problem. That's several hundred of those cases. It's most of them. People who have died because of vaping, guess what? They didn't die because they took some commercially available regular vaping product that had been more or less deemed to be safe in a laboratory setting and vaped it. I don't think vaping is cool. I think people look pretty dumb when they vape. I can understand, like, basically the only purpose to vaping should be to get yourself off cigarettes. If you're addicted to nicotine, you vape something with nicotine and you try to, wean yourself off it. At the very least, you're not putting a bunch of smoke in your lungs. If the blend is commercially available, safe, is properly made, it is safer, it appears, by all means, than smoking cigarettes. Shouldn't be considered a long-term replacement. You should be trying to quit completely. It's the nicotine you're addicted to. Just fucking get off of it. I quit cold turkey. I'm thankful that I did. Now, almost 2 years later, I would never go back. Like, it's fucked up. I would never consider smoking again. I never considered vaping seriously, because I'm like, oh yeah, well, I can stop smoking while getting my nicotine, but then I'm like, well, I don't want to be addicted to nicotine. That's the whole fucking point. It's the addiction itself is the point. It's what you're trying to get rid of, so just fucking quit it. I know it can be harder than that, but seriously, you can do it. If you can make it 3 days, you can make it 2 years. Don't worry about it too much. It's not really that bad. Once you get through it, it feels really bad for the first 3 days. I'll give you that. Just fucking lock yourself in your room with a bunch of steak. Just sit there and cry or something for a few days. Keep yourself busy. What do you like to do most? Do it. Other than smoking, of course. But, and this is moralism. It's social panic bullshit. See, all of this legislation and shit is being prefaced on an emergency that doesn't exist. We must do more. So the opiate crisis, tens of thousands of people die every year. Smoking isn't a public health crisis. People toxifying their livers, crashing cars and shit like that. Things that actually have measurable death totals. People with, sedentary lifestyle-related heart and vascular ailments. That's not a big problem. No, the big problem is a few hundred people got sick from vaping things. Mostly because they use cheap, imported Chinese crap that should be banned, yes. And Trump sort of alluded to this the next day after he went all in against vaping. He's like, well, let's keep things safe. I certainly like it better than cigarettes, but we're going to have to make things safer. Yeah, just ban Chinese imports, problem solved. That's the only place that half of this shit is coming from. It's coming from China. Because it's cheap. People import a lot of it. And some people, they cut the product. They measured the THC wrong. So you can't hold vaping responsible for some idiot with a home blend putting in, accidentally moving the decimal point, putting in 10 times too much THC and smoking themselves into a stupor and crashing their car because they thought that they would only be a little bit high at the time. You can't blame that on everybody else, and you can't decide that a product that arguably has helped millions of people quit smoking, get off of nicotine. I see success stories time and time again. I've had people relate to me, yeah, I was a smoker for 30 years. I started vaping. Now I don't even have to vape. I just vape water vapor. By the way, just stop vaping the water vapor. You're no longer addicted to the nicotine. Just fucking stop. There's no need for it. It should be seen as medicinal. Handle it in a medical context. How long, like 20 years from now, we're going to get some counter study that'll say, oh, it was all witch hunt bullshit, and actually, like, this many people were saved because vaping existed. We're going to get something like that. Yeah, for all of the tales of popcorn lung because of a bad batch, here's the real truth. That's what we'll end up getting. So people like Cuomo, they step in, they're opportunistic. He's riding high on the it's a health crisis bullshit bandwagon. He bans not vaping. Vaping's still there. E-cigs are still there. A lot of the materials are still there, just not the flavored ones. It's the flavorant that's the problem, clearly. No, if it's improperly made, yeah, I can give you popcorn lung. Probably if it's been imported from China, but Cuomo doesn't want to say anything about that. Where's he getting his money from? I fucking wonder where. That's about all. Peace out.